Just because you have a choice does not mean that any of them has to be right. So, this reminds me of one of my favorite movies, The Matrix. In The Matrix, Neo, the lead character, is offered two pills, a blue pill and a red pill by Morpheus. And one of the pills is supposed to keep him blissfully unaware of the universe and keep living his life inside of this simulated matrix. And then the other pill is supposed to take him to the harsh realities outside of the matrix. So, tough choice or illusion of choice, right? So that's the first thing we are talking about. And we are talking about morality with respect to it. So, the core concept here is choice versus morality, right? These are the two spectrums, and the tension between these two is what this essay is exploring. The second thing it is talking about is in morality, right versus wrong, right? What is the decision making process, and how do we get to our decision, the consequences of our decision, the responsibilities that we must take, the accountability that we must take for our decisions, and whether they are right or wrong. And the concept that there is sometimes no absolute truth, right? There is a high degree of relativism when we talk about truth. Different cultures, different societies that might differ from place to place, right? So these are sort of the core concepts. Now let's get in and discover what the core arguments might be. So the first thing I would write is the illusion of choices, right? And in modern world, we have had several philosophers, psychologists talk about choice. One example is Barry Schwartz, and Barry Schwartz talked about something called paradox of choices, right? So in retail, when you are buying stuff, you see several things on the shelf, but what makes you buy something versus the other? So sometimes there are choices, but there is an illusion that we are actually making a choice. Sometimes we are not making a choice, or there is no clarity of moral high ground, right versus wrong, when we are making these choices. So it's all about perception. The second thing is relativism and sort of subjectivity around choices. So choices are subjective at the end of the day, right? They differ from culture to culture, they differ from person to person, and sometimes attaching right versus wrong to choices are different from place to place. So capital punishment is a good example. And the treatment of capital punishment across cultures is different. The third thing I would say is decision making, and here you can talk about pragmatism, utilitarianism, these kinds of concepts, and you can say that practical choice overrides our moral choices, right, or ideal choices. So this is clearly a point here. Then what I'll say is the fourth point is about consequences and responsibility. So even if no choice is fully right, individuals must take accountability of choices, right? So this is basically your personal responsibility around your choice. So I think explain these things. You talk about illusion of choice, why it is relative, what is the decision making process, and talk about the individual accountability, right? So we can take several examples from politics, we can take examples of war. Everything is a choice, right? The choice Hitler had while persecuting Jews was actually a choice, and it was driven by ideology. And there are several things from a personal standpoint, like personal choices like food or religion or what clothes you wear, things of that nature. So, hopefully, this gave you a good idea of this topic. And be sure to take a screenshot of this and file it for your revisions. I will see you next time.